to the GoTeez Sports Page, coming to you live from the Bluetick Tavern in Maryville at 92.5 FM and 1180 AM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in Blount County sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Ierulli. And this is the GoTeez Sports Page. The basketball Vols will try to sweep Alabama, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. We'll report on the latest high school basketball tournament scores involving Blount County high school teams, and we'll follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Marcus will present his feature, Mark It Down. Alcoa Wrestling will be on the agenda. I'll talk some Tennessee basketball as we look back on the Vols week and then spring forward to preview today's game with Alabama. We'll talk some Lady Vol basketball and throw in some UT softball and baseball. The letter rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Tony Ierulli, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, and beautiful spring
Beautiful
day out there.
day.
We got spring fever, baby.
It is good.
Yeah.
It's good to be amongst friends and all that, and so just good to be here.
Yeah, Marcus Fitzsimmons, good to see you this morning. And
I'm glad to be. I've got Donnie's seat. If
you
people
moved
are
up.
confused.
Oh, man, a lot.
You moved up in the world.
I've moved up in the world. Filling in for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
any technical glitches today can be blamed on me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Donnie is out this morning. Had a little surgery yesterday, and hopefully everything's okay with him. And
Definitely can't wait to get him back.
Yeah, he'll hopefully be back here next week, rested and ready to go.
Good.
Well, I got the letter rip segment ready to go this morning, and
you're loaded up.
yeah, I've got Tony White on the agenda. You know, Tony's been in here a few times, and last year and.
Year before too.
Trying to get his jersey retired over there, and I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to rip on that a little bit this morning. Over the past year or so, there's been a movement led by former Alcoa basketball standout Dwayne Easter to get ex-Vol round baller Tony White's jersey retired. It seems that there is little reasoning as to why a final decision has not been made on the matter. Tony's credentials seem to meet the criteria. We have pitched Tony's jersey retirement on this show on numerous occasions, and media outlets have done the same in the Knoxville area. Important people have pitched the case, and numerous letters have been written to Tennessee Athletic Director Danny White. In my opinion, and the opinion of many others, the nomination of Tony to get his jersey retired has gone on long enough. If you're going to retire the jersey with the proper steps, whatever that be, Danny White, do it. If not, make a statement that his jersey will not be retired so that the matter can finally be put to rest. And Coach Ierulli, this has been going on for 2 years, and
Sure.
They know what's happening over there. If there's a problem, go ahead and say, we're not going to do it for I don't guess you even have to give a reason. You want to give a reason, fine.
Sure.
But if not, these people have worked hard
Yeah.
to get this done, and a lot of steps have been taken. And obviously there's no interest. I don't know what the situation is or why it's being held up or whatever, but don't you think the people that's worked hard on it, especially Dwayne and a lot of other people in here, don't you think they deserve an answer?
Yeah, I mean, this has been a hardcore pursuit towards Tony to get his jersey retired for the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
We've had Tony here a couple times.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, great guy and all that, and I have not heard anything really negative about him and all that. And when you look at his career stats at University of Tennessee, I mean, he's there.
Yeah.
And why would you not do that? I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with what you just said. It says if he's not eligible, then just give us a reason.
Exactly.
Something happened, whatever. But
move on.
Move on. But
Move
no.
on.
And Dwayne Easter, I mean, he's given his heart and
He
soul.
really has. He really
this.
has.
I mean,
He's worked extremely hard. And Marcus, your thoughts on where we are now after a couple of years of this?
I agree with you. It would be nice if they would give us a reason or go ahead and do it. But it's University of Tennessee, so of course we're not. But I do think that there is an opportunity that Tennessee should capitalize on, in that the age of the athlete like a Tony White, who's going to play 4 years for you and be in the program start to finish and leave the program in a better place than when he arrived, is over.
Yeah.
Barring a massive dismemberment of NIL and all of this, that age is gone. So it is time to honor some of those athletes, and maybe it's time to actually put some realistic criteria and put it out there and say this is the criteria, rather than some vaguely worded things that could be interpreted different ways, and in some cases wouldn't qualify anybody.
Yeah.
I would love to see Rick Barnes make a statement about it. One way or the other. I mean, maybe he's hindered because that's not his call, I guess. But you would think the head coach of Tennessee would at least make a statement or two saying yes.
I'm not a big fan of retired jerseys. I mean, and a retired number.
Yeah.
I believe in honoring, the individuals and certain criteria, but I think maybe the number should stay.
Yeah.
This number should stay on the court rather than just be up in the rafters. But, even last year, the year before, I looked at some of the other schools. At Duke, you had to meet, I think it was pretty simple, 3 or 4 different criteria at Duke and maybe 3 or 4 at North Carolina. Of course, North Carolina, they retire jerseys.
Yeah.
They put jerseys up in the rafters. And, I think you got to be an All-American and maybe a All-ACC player.
Right,
and, they've got about 3 or 4 things. But some of these schools, one of the things that's important to them is that they graduate. In order to be honored, you need to graduate. And Marcus made a good point. In this day and age, I don't know if you're going to have anybody from here on out that's going to stay 4 years. So that's going to shoot whatever criteria you got, in the head. If somebody stays 1 year or 2 years and is a great player, then there you go. He hadn't graduated. And right now, if you're looking at graduation, you got 2 banners up there right now that of 2 players where the jersey's been retired at Tennessee. They didn't even graduate from the school.
Right.
If you're promoting student athletes, it should be in there. Of course, Tony did graduate.
Yeah, he graduated.
He did more than all the right things.
And the thing is, from everything I've heard and read and listened to, I mean, he's got such outstanding fan support.
Yeah.
For getting his jersey renumbered. I like I said, I haven't heard anything negative, anything. Right. So, well, he did this and he got in trouble doing it. No, I haven't heard anything like that, and nothing's out there. And so, and like I said, Dwayne's done everything he could to promote it, and this has been like a 2-3 year mission for him and other people to get his jersey retired. And I just hope that they do the right thing.
What I'd like to really see them do is, it feels like if you walk on the concourse at the Food City Center, they've got people. Mike, you're up there.
It's a history. It's a history deal.
It's a history that goes around.
Like a museum.
I'd like to see them organize that, and I don't care if the honor's above the arena floor or it's out on the concourse.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them take one side of that and put all the All-Americans on one side.
Yeah.
Because then, there was a point in time where Tennessee didn't have enough All-Americans that it would matter.
Yeah.
But at this point, that will capture some of these NIL athletes, but that gets a Tony White in there.
Right.
That gets Ernie and Bernie in there.
Right.
But you go back and that gets Connect, that gets Lofton, that gets some of these more recent guys in there.
Right. Good point.
And just make, at least do that much, because now you've got enough All-Americans that you can do something that doesn't look like, well, we had 2 guys back 50 years ago.
Yeah. And the way they're doing it now, they sort of run into a room factor over there. These banners are huge. I mean, if you've been in the arena, these aren't small banners they've got hanging in there.
No.
You only got so much room to hang. I don't know what are they, 15 feet or whatever. I mean, they're large. You've been over there, Tony, haven't you? They're not a small deal. So, and that may be part of it. Maybe they're looking into some different avenues, but at least they ought to make a statement. Of what they're doing, and
especially since this has been kind of a ongoing thing going on for the last 2-3 years. I mean,
it's felt willy-nilly. We had a burst under Pearl where they were trying to do this and do that, and then we had a change of administration, change of ADs, And it's just felt kind of pieced together since then. It's not like it's been a system set up that says, okay, every 2 years we're going to review this, or every 3 or 4. It's just like whenever some coach pokes us the right way, we'll get out there and look at it again.
It just doesn't seem like it's a priority. It doesn't even, Tony went into their Hall of Fame. It doesn't even seem like their Hall of Fame is a priority because Tony's sitting here and he doesn't even know what's going on or, what the agenda is or anything. It just doesn't seem like they're real organized in anything that they're doing over there to honor, past people. So,
and it's not just basketball. I mean, you can say the same thing about football. They are loath to go out and break that case open and put anybody new in there. They have a full center over there across the street where you can see it all in the Hall of Fame and all of that. But in the stadium, no, off limits.
I will make this comment, Tony. They are organized when it comes to money.
Very well organized. I mean, they
don't have any trouble with that deal.
There's no gray area whatsoever about that. They got it all done.
Yeah.
But like I said, I would like to see Coach Barnes come up and say something.
Yeah.
I mean, just give his input one way or the other, and that would mean a lot. And so,
well, it's not going to happen this year because they got Alabama at home today. Then they go on the road to play South Carolina, and then they come back to finish up against Vanderbilt, and that's senior day. So it's not going to happen this year.
Right.
It's just not. So
hopefully we'll try to make another big push.
It's going to drag into another spring, summer, fall, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice, if, like we said, if they just go ahead and make a comment about it and let it go. Got you here this morning, Coach Ierulli, and what's going on up at Carson Newman? Football news, anything?
Well, we're getting ready to. We just got done with our early morning workouts. Boy, I tell you what, it is so much fun being up there at 6 a.m. in the morning in the snow and the cold, and that means I leave here by about 4:30 in the morning to make that nice little drive up to Carson Newman. And but I tell you, it's been good. I mean, we've had great preseason. Workouts. We're off this past week. In fact, I just got back to me and our defensive coaches. We went up to the University of Virginia and visited with their coaching staff. Boy, they really got good things going on up there.
They had a good year last year too.
Had a real good year and had a great. They won the Gator Bowl and just really things are at a good good time up there. We really enjoyed meeting with the head coach and with our defensive coaches. One of our former players, Corey DeWeese from Carson Newman, he's their linebacker analyst, and so we were up there watching video and film, and we had a great time. It was really nice being able to do that, and that's what a lot of coaching staffs do. They try to select a different team to send their coaching staff to go up there and visit with them, and so we just got back late last night, and so that's what's going on. Everyone's on spring break. Then the following week, we'll start getting ready for spring ball. So we're ready to roll.
And while you were up at Virginia, I'm sure you checked out the apparel because they got the same colors as Carson Newman, right?
We like that, yes. We got a lot of orange up there and all that. We just blended in very well up there.
They got that orange and blue going on up there at Virginia,
too. Yeah, but I tell you, first time I've been there in 20-some years, but they really got good facilities up there.
It's amazing. If you look at these programs across the country, the good ones that's got it going, you look at Virginia, and they're in that category where they had a good football year, and look what they're doing in basketball. They're having a great basketball season.
Right.
Basketball program.
So. And overall, I mean, it's when you walk into their program, you see, their indoor facilities, their outdoor facilities, their weight room is just massive. I mean, before the NIL stuff started coming out last 4 or 5 years, the big push was improvement in facilities.
Yeah.
And that was what was convincing players to go to their school. The weight room, they have little areas for them to eat. Down at Clemson, they've got a bowling alley in there, a nap room. I mean, just all these little things that just to attract players to take a look at their place. And so that's where the big money was going to is towards facilities. Now, obviously the NIL stuff that's where all the stuff is going to be going on now.
Yeah. Marcus Fitzsimmons, let's move on to some Lady Vol softball. 16-0, I believe. They got 2 wins yesterday. Appalachian State they beat 9-1, and Penn State they beat 4-1, and I think they were behind 1-0 in both of those games, and came back in that 4-1 game. I think they had a grand slam home run to win that one. So gee, 16-0, number one in the country. They're on fire.
They really are. I mean, it's to the point where we're not at the conference start yet, but when the team starts this well, you're just like, okay, they're going to drop one somewhere, and is it going to be the one that makes them vulnerable and all this magic to this start ends? You're just afraid of that.
Yeah.
You don't want to think about it, but I mean, when you start off on a streak, it's a little scary. 16-0.
Yeah, and listen, they've played some top-ranked teams in that 16-0 too. These haven't all been gimmies.
No.
So
I tell you, the pitcher Tennessee has. I mean, gosh, she is just phenomenal. Way she throws.
I guess baseball, softball's an idea. You got that pitching; it makes a lot of difference.
It sure does,
especially in women's softball.
Oh, can't touch it.
You've got her, but you haven't put your ace to the test. You've pitched her in some key games, but the rest of your lineup is doing well in pitching. You're hitting the way Tennessee has never really hit, and there's so many pieces that are fitting right now, and you just hope that continues.
Yeah.
And that something doesn't falter. Let's see, they rematch with Penn State today I think at 3, and then they close out North Carolina Central tonight. But you just got to be impressed with what Karen Weekly has put together, because we went in the off season last fall in August. We barely touched on it because of football, but we did mention it that some of their key players from last year got poached in NIL and were down at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, well, they'll probably still be good, but not 16-0 start number one in the country good.
And this Lady Vol softball program has always seemed to start strong. Every year they really get out of the gate, and as the season goes along and gets down toward the tournament, you see some fade there. Hope it's not the case with this team here. One of the things that amazes me is we've barely got the snow dried up, and they've got 16 games under their belt. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing, yeah. How they do. They don't waste any time at all.
Yeah, out of the gate and going, huh?
But like I said, in softball, if you've got even in baseball, but softball more exactly. I mean, if you've got that dominant pitcher.
Yes.
And that pitcher, they can pitch both games.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't even touch her, and I mean, so she's really outstanding.
Yeah. Ball baseball, they were playing yesterday down in Arlington, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Big League Ballpark. They played in the Big League Ballpark down at Arlington, and they played UCLA, and they lost that game 5-12. So the baseball team, 6-3 right now. They lost that series last weekend to Kent State.
Right.
Which was
that was kind of a surprise.
Sort of a shocker and a surprise right there. And so there appears to be some kinks in the armor. I don't know whether it's the managerial change or the change in personnel or just kind of feeling everybody out there and getting things going. I don't know, but they're off to kind of a wobbly start.
Right, especially with losing the series against Kent State. That's the first non-major team
at home.
Yeah, that they've lost series to in about 10 years.
Yeah,
and so that was a big surprise and all that. But new head coach, he's probably going to change things the way he likes to get it done. And so let's see what happens here.
They got Arizona State today, and that's not going to get any easier with Arizona State.
No.
Traditionally, they've been a fine baseball program out there. And then Sunday they play Virginia Tech before coming back home to take on East Tennessee State at 4 o'clock over at the stadium there on campus. But fall baseball, a couple of things here we've talked about that as far as the start, personnel could be involved, philosophy, coaching style.
Yeah.
Coaching style, you got a difference there. Recruiting, where you at on that?
Sure.
And so forth. But boy, they've really got to they got some work ahead of them because that SEC league is a juggernaut.
Yeah,
in baseball.
I mean, who
man,
I mean, you talk about baseball in the South. I mean, who is a weak team? I mean, it's It's hard to find someone like that.
Yeah.
And especially, baseball is, over the last 15 years or so, the quality of baseball overall in the SEC has improved so much and all, where, there's not a big difference between the top-ranked teams and the bottom-ranked teams.
Yeah. Marcus, let's move on to Lady Vol basketball. They started the week, I believe, at 16-10 overall and 8-6 in the league, and they lost to Oklahoma, 11th ranked Oklahoma, 100-93, and things didn't get any better as they lost to LSU this past Thursday, number 6 LSU in the country, 89-73. So I think that's 10 out of the last 12 now that they've lost. They're reeling at a bad time.
Well, yes. The good news is, and this is I'll do the cup half full thing. You can end a terrible February, and it doesn't matter if you have a good March.
Yep.
You can make it all up with a good showing in the tournament. So all you can say is they have taken some lumps, and they've seen some of the best teams in the country can offer, and they know what they got to do to play with them. So maybe they can turn it all around, or maybe this will be over very quickly.
Yeah. Tony, I don't know. They've got Vanderbilt, I think, Sunday
at home
over here.
Okay.
And Vanderbilt's ranked, another ranked team. And we talked a little bit about this, before they got in. Well, as they got into the SEC play, they got off to a great start in the SEC.
Right.
I don't know. I think they won their first 6 games or whatever, and everybody was really pumped up. And then you look at the league standings, and you find out that those 6 teams were, the bottom half of the league.
Yeah. You didn't know it at that time.
The toughest was yet to come, and now we found out kind of where we're at here.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you're right. They have, since beating Kentucky on January 22nd, they've won 2 games.
Yeah.
And that was overtime with Georgia and then the Missouri team.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just seem to be.
See, they get Vanderbilt on Sunday, and then it's the SEC tournament.
It's here. Yeah.
You're going to Greenville, South Carolina for the tournament, and you're going to have to, like I said, you can make it all go away with the good showing down there.
Yeah. If it was a half a game, they'd be in great shape. I mean, at halftime, they're right in there. Even with Connecticut, they were right there at the half, but after the half, it's just a lot of times it's just all downhill. It's just.
Yeah, and you just, I mean, you hate to say, well, she's kind of lost her team or anything like that, but they've just, they just have not, where's the leadership coming from?
Yeah.
The players from the team stepping up.
Yeah.
And
you've got so much youth on that team that, and though you've got some players who aren't technically sophomores, but they're basically one-year players,
right,
who are in their second year. I feel like there's a lot of sophomore slump involved with this team, and a lot of that second half of the freshman year that is coinciding with that you've got a slump on your hands, and your choice at this point is to break it or be done.
There's also there's obviously a little bit of discipline going on because Janiah Barker was disciplined and didn't make the trip to Oklahoma, which was one of their key players. They get beat 7 out there. You'd like to think, she's on the court.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that may be the difference in that game right there. So there has obviously been maybe some situations there, but they're turning the ball over way too much. Turning the ball over way. I mean, they turned it over. I think they turned it over 15 times against Oklahoma, and against LSU they turned it over 16 times.
Yeah.
So that's just that's a lot of turnover. I want to get Tony in on this one right here. After the game against Oklahoma, now I don't know whether I'd have made this comment or not.
Yeah.
Because I am what I am.
Yeah.
But Kim Caldwell made the comment after the Oklahoma game that she felt like, even though they lost, they were fun to watch. They were fun to watch. It was fun to coach, not fun to watch. What she said is that the Lady Vols were fun to coach at Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I guess the second part I was trying to get to, but I don't know how fun they were to watch from our end of it. But I don't know. Would you make that comment as a coach that they were fun to coach and you lost?
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is they got to win, and the fun the fun in coaching is winning.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she's saying, well, she enjoys coaching them, all that, but the bottom line is, and the expectations, especially if you're the head coach at Tennessee women's basketball, is to win, and so yeah, they might be fun to coach, but they got to win.
Yeah.
And
well, she didn't say they were fun to watch. She said they were fun to coach.
Okay, they're fun to coach.
So I don't know. I don't know from a watching standpoint through this 12-game stretch right here where they've lost 10 of them.
I don't know how much
watching's been tough.
I don't know how much fun she's been having
from a fan
right now.
standpoint. That's been tough. So you don't know. Anyway, they do have Vanderbilt tomorrow at 2:00. Vanderbilt's number 5. That game's at 2:00 on ESPN, and I don't know. Vanderbilt's another tough assignment. It doesn't seem to matter whether they're playing at home or away, Marcus. It's a tough road, second half, regardless, road or home. Huh?
It doesn't seem to matter to them. They're not drawing energy off of the home crowd, so I don't think it matters. The only thing that will hurt them going forward, I think, you've got to get through Sunday. You've got what should be an emotional game against Vanderbilt that you should, if you're going to do something, this is the point to do it.
Yeah.
But if not, then you're going to South Carolina, but you're not impacted by the crowd at all at this point, really. So you're going to Greenville, South Carolina for the tournament. So the fact that you're going down there, I mean, it's a little bit less pressure than going to Nashville because you're not going to have as many. It's not going to be that Nashville environment where you have an expectation to do well.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. With where they're at and right now with 16 wins and where they are at loss-wise and where they are in the conference win-loss wise, when they got Vanderbilt left and then they go to the SEC tournament, they don't have really I think they got maybe one quality win all year.
Yeah.
Are they in danger of not getting in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, they definitely are. That's what I'm saying.
Are they going to be riding that Tennessee name? Hey, this is Tennessee.
I think
hopefully we're going to get in the
think that's
tournament.
run its course.
You think it's run its course?
As far as the impact of the Tennessee name, what hasn't run its course is the Tennessee name when it comes to television. Because I think 3 of the top 5 rated games this year, as far as TV ratings and viewers, have involved the Lady Vols for women's basketball. So that could have an impact and save them. But otherwise, I think you've got to go down. You need to beat Vanderbilt, and you need to go down and win 2 in South Carolina, in Greenville at the tournament. Yeah. Otherwise, I think you are on the outside.
Any projections on who they might play based on
where
it is right now?
I haven't looked at those projections because they're not nearly as good as the men's with their accuracy about where things are going to go.
Okay.
Because there's a lot more factors that go in with that pod system as to how things are going to shape up.
We've seen this scenario a little bit before. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you about this. Kim Caldwell was making around $750,000. And then after last season, they showed that promise. They had the good recruiting in the spring. Hopes were high. Things haven't gone as smoothly this year, and they raised her $250,000 last spring. So she's up. She's making $1 million right now.
Woo.
And we've seen that a lot, where they've raised somebody quick, and then there you go.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, this season's almost all said and done, but she's gonna have to really raise the bar here next year and really get out of the slump that she's had during her second season to be a top contender next year. And again, with the NIL stuff, I mean, how many of her current players are going to stick around? How many would she be able to bring in? I mean, so she's got a lot of work.
Most major programs, they like to see that growth every year, a little bit of improvement every year on up.
Yeah.
Tennessee,
this was a step back.
they're not real patient here because of their past.
No.
So I don't know. I don't know where this is, where this is going to lead. But I think they've lacked a playmaker. They've definitely lacked a clutch player to get things turned around. Consistency's been a big problem, and turnovers have been a problem. And there's been some scrutiny about her system, bringing people in wholesale, taking them out wholesale.
Sure.
And that type of thing. So, we'll see. Hopefully they can turn it around here in the SEC tournament, get a bid to the NCAA, and leave this season with much better than they've had up to this point. Hey, we'll take a timeout here. When we return, we'll provide some high school tournament basketball scores from around the area and some other news. And then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page, and filling in for Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons. You got some high school scores from last night, and when you get done right there real quick, I want to give a few high school scores.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Uh-oh.
I feel the trepidation in the air.
There's something coming up. We're not.
I thought we already let it rip this morning, but okay.
I know it, but I'm in the mood.
So we're for prep basketball. We've gotten into the region tournament play, and we had region quarterfinals last night for the girls teams. Breaking those down for the area, Alcoa opened just the way we thought they should. They took a 65-20 win last night over Hickson. They're going to advance to play Red Bank, who was a 38-34 winner over Loudon in the semifinals. And also in Region 3-3A, Heritage, 55-20 over Signal Mountain. Faith Morris led the way with 19 points on 5 threes. Signal Mountain had no scorers in double digits and did not score 7 points in the first half. Heritage had a 30-point lead going into the locker room. They will move on to face South Doyle, a team they've already beaten twice in district play this year. And those semifinal games are scheduled for Monday. We're waiting to see. There's a possibility that they might move one or both of those semifinals up here instead of playing them at Red Bank. We're waiting for a final word on that. In 4A play, Lady Govs lost at Science Hill. That was a 4-1 matchup, 59-23. And Westridge defeated the Maryville Lady Rebels 66-62, which ends Maryville's season. And then we'll get down to tonight's action. The boys go in for their quarterfinal play. That will begin with Eagleton at South Green in 2A play. And then in 3A, Saudi Daisy is at Heritage and East Ridge is at Alcoa. And then in Region 2 4A, that will open with Westridge at Maryville and William Blount at Morristown West tonight. And their semifinals are scheduled for Tuesday. A bit of an upset last night in the Collegiate Conference of the South semifinals that was going on over at Maryville College. Number 1 seeded Scots lost 82-71 to number 4 seed LaGrange, a team they've beaten twice this year. That puts a real dent in MC's hopes to get into the NCAA tournament They were upset last year in the finals, and
Same thing.
same sort of thing.
Oh,
You have almost a
man
perfect
alive.
regular season, and you go into the tournament, and you have that's where your bad game shows up.
While you were talking, I was just trying to look it up because I knew they were playing LaGrange, and they beat LaGrange a couple times, and dang on it.
So this is Maryville
Bummer.
College's last year in the CCCS. So
Right,
they were
right.
really hoping to go out
Finish
with
up.
the double with the regular season and the conference or the tournament championship, and couldn't get that one
And
done.
they couldn't make it to the playoffs. I mean, excuse me, guys, but they really got blank, blank, blank. They should have gone in last year.
They should have been
at
at-large bid last year. This is going to make it a more difficult because it wasn't in the championship game. It was in the semifinals. So we'll see come Monday what the selection committee does. Following up from last Saturday after we got off the air, we had 2 state champions coming home from wrestling. That was Samuel Everett's Tyson Click and Heritage Trinity Roberts. Both came home with state championships in wrestling, which is going to kind of lead us in because we've got special guests here this morning. Alcoa Wrestling is in the house, and we have some wrestlers who were down there and very, very close to doing that same thing this year. We'll talk with them here shortly, Mike, but I'll let you I know where you're going. You want to look at for region quarterfinals.
I'm going to tell you right now.
There were
I'm
some
not,
discrepancies
I'm not
in
a
the
big
scores.
fan of Tennessee State basketball.
Here we go.
I'm not, never have been, even when I coached. I think if you lose, you're out. They don't give football teams another chance when they lose in the playoffs. In basketball, you can lose 2 or 3 games, go down there to state and win a state championship. Well, you win a state championship and say, well, we won the state, but we lost 2 or 3 games to get down here. I don't like the deal, but I'm looking at these girls' scores last night, and these, and I'm not going to name any schools. But this is just a short list, and I think there were very few games last night in that region tournament that were close. Here's some of the scores: 72-22, 91-26, 86-21, 64-25, 67-24, 53-14, 78-23, 76-16, 65-18, 52-13, 80-54, 70-15, 72-12, 80-14, 61-24, 69-12. Do I need to go on?
No, I don't think so.
Why in the world? Why in the world would you have a tournament when these teams right here have already been beaten in the district tournament and go into a regional tournament and get beat like that? And this is what I've got written down here in this paper are probably just about half, and about 3/4 of those games last night weren't any better than this right here. And we're talking maybe some within 12 points or 13 points or 10 points. I don't get it. Explain it to me.
Well, there's this organization called the
TSSAA.
TSSAA,
There we go.
and they like to have money to operate.
There you go.
In their defense, they will let districts and regions opt out of this format. There were some districts and regions out in Middle Tennessee and Williamson County who opted out of 4 teams out of each district going to the region.
So they do have the opportunity not to play.
That's correct.
If everybody agrees.
If everybody agrees, you can opt out. I mean, that Alcoa-Hickson thing last night was 31-4 at one point. I think Bradley Central beat somebody 121-29 or something last night. But I'm just saying, the format is what it is, but districts and regions do have the opportunity to opt out of sending all of those teams to it. Now, most of them won't, but they do have that opportunity.
I guess one of the only bright spots about the deal, if you're talking to somebody that doesn't know a lot about the basketball tournament in Tennessee, let's say if I'm talking to somebody up in Indiana and I was coaching one of these teams right here, I could say, well, we made it to the regional last year, which would have been a big deal in Indiana because you would have won a sectional championship and gone on to the region tournament. But it just seems like it's just, I don't know where you're really – what good it's doing, those programs to go in there and get beat like that.
I think there's this 1 in 10 chance though where you're in a district where things are just stacked up and you're paired up with another district where it's not very good, and all of a sudden, I get in there and get a chance to go on a postseason run. So, I can see it from both sides.
Almost like that movie, you know, the guy's trying to go out with a girl, you know, and he's at the door. What was the name of that movie? And
that's about half the movies.
I know. I
the
was going to say there's a lot of them like that.
But they made a lot more sense when we had
she said he had a
classifications.
99.9% chance of maybe taking her out or something like that.
Well, when we had 3 classifications, it made a lot more sense because it provided that balance where take the old District 4, where you had Farragut, Hardin Valley, Maryville, William Blunt, Bearden in there. Year 5 could go beat the 1 in the other district at some years. Yeah. So, I mean, it did kind of balance that out. And we see it, I mean, you saw it some last night. I mean, Heritage's district won 3 of the 4 games. Yeah. So, you know, there's only Red Bank left. Only the number 1 seed survived from the other region or the other district. So it is supposed to provide some balance, but at the same time, it doesn't always work when you get those 4-1 matchups. Yeah. But is that all? Did you want to keep on going about it?
I'm done. I want to hear from the Alcoa state champions right here. Let's move on. Let's move on here.
Well, Coach Gossett was nice enough to convince some of the wrestlers to get up early on another Saturday morning after they thought they were done with that stuff. You know, they've done it for about 5 or 6 weeks, Saturdays in a row for the district and regions and individuals and duels, and now they thought they were done, and Coach, you managed to get them out of bed and come over here, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And he got out of bed.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Coach, give me the quick rundown. Who have you brought in this morning?
So this morning with us, I've got Darius Sutterth, who was state runner-up at 215-pound weight class for our division. It's his 3rd time medaling in the state tournament. He's got another state tournament to go next year as a senior, so great season for him. And then next to him is Tristan Fowler, who is a sophomore who finished 3rd this year at the state tournament, and it's the first time he's been to the state tournament. So great season for him, and both these guys just both really turned it on in the postseason and gave themselves an opportunity to finish high and place well. So,
well, I'll say this: you all were down there 2 out of 3 weekends, and y'all got out of there, and they opened the In-N-Out Burger 2 days after you left. And they have had Franklin PD directing traffic on that exit for 3 days now. So you all managed to get your work done and get out of there before it got really bad down there in South Nashville. Coach, can you talk a little bit about the format this year? You know, it felt like it wasn't different, but it was like we went through duels and then it was just a rush into individuals, and the weather did not cooperate with making everything run smoothly.
Yeah, the duels, the duels conclude about the next to last weekend in January, and then state duels is the last weekend in January, and then the next 3 Saturdays after that are individuals, and so each weekend is a qualifier. So, you finish top 4 in the region, you get to go to the sectional. You finish top 4 in the sectional, you get to go to the state tournament. And to my point with Mike a minute ago, we are paired up in a region. We're paired up in a sectional with Soddy Daisy and Signal Mountain, who finished 1-2 in state duels and who finished 1-2 in the points at the traditional. So, if they stop taking 3rd places, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But
well, we didn't mention wrestling. We were hitting basketball.
But at the same time, that really helped us to be paired up with those guys and those teams. Because we have to raise our level if we're going to be competitive with those guys, and so I think that was a good thing for us. And we were right there with them in some spots this year, and so I just like I said, it's just a whirlwind. It's super competitive. In our sectional, there's 14 weight classes, 4 qualifiers per weight. I think Saudi, Signal, us, and Samuel Everett had 32 out of the 56 qualifiers. So you start thinking about that. That's 4 pretty good programs, and like I said, it's just a hyper competitive deal, and that's how it should be if you're going to win state championships. So.
Well, I'm going to pick on Darius first because he's the veteran who's been down there. I've watched you several years down there. I wasn't able to go this year, but. you know what that atmosphere is like. You know what it is when you go in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just looking at how this started for you. There's nothing more important than winning those first two matches and setting yourself up. What was that? How much nerve did you have when you got on the mat for the first time? We're like, I'm back, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll say I feel like the nerves calmed down the more I've been there. My freshman year, I was really nervous about those, especially the first two, because that's what you need to place, right? So those first two matches, I was really thinking about it too hard, and my dad had to try to calm me down. This year, I didn't think much about it at all. I think I just went out and wrestled.
Tristan, your first trip down there, what were you expecting, and did it live up to the expectations when you walked out on the mat?
I went down there pretty confident, and I was just ready to get after it. And once I went out there and wrestled and got those two matches down, I was ready to go.
Now you've actually got the gear on, so I'm going to pick on you a little bit about that. But you got the championships gear.
Oh yeah.
You can get down there from the vendors, and so I'm guessing there's a little bit of pride.
Oh yeah.
Going with it. Coach, what do you do in these situations where you've got guys going in the first time? Is there at this point, is there the experience canned? This is what I tell them every year, or do you tailor it for each individual wrestler?
Well, I think this year one of our assistant, Sammy Evans, he talked to them early on in the postseason, and he said that excitement and nervousness are the same emotion. It's just the way that you react to them. And so he talked to them about, being excited about the opportunity versus being nervous, and then, I guess the canned speech is, if you worry about results, you don't worry about all the things you're trying to do to get there. And so we just talked about, like just performing and doing your wrestling moves, your strategy, your things, because if you're worried about the result, then that's all you're going to do is worry. Just perform, go do your stuff, and just realize that, excitement and nervousness are the same thing. It's just that's the way you approach it. And so I think in both of their cases this year, they were so confident in their strategy, they were so confident in their set of moves and things that they were able to be excited. And so that excitement came out as they performed and went through the tournament.
So you've been there and you know this. Do you feel like this, every year is a step up? Like it feels like, in a way, it feels like when you go down there, like every year it seems like it's just that much more competitive than it was the year before.
I definitely think that the division we're in is getting better and better every year. I think, and I really hadn't stopped and thought about that until, the end of this year, but it's just there was so many really, really competitive teams from about third place to about 15th place in that tournament. And so, a match result here or two different, and, a lot of those teams are flip-flopping where they finish and things like that. So just super competitive, and I think it's a good thing. I think the way that they've got it divided right now is helping raise the level of some of the smaller programs and smaller schools.
And I'll give you a chance. And we've got these two here, and I'm still going to pick on them. But you had three more down there for individual, right?
Yeah.
You want to brag about them a little bit?
Corey Hatcher finished sixth place. He's playing baseball this morning, I think. I think he's practicing baseball. So he kind of came out to us late, and then kind of went on a good little postseason run at the end. Got himself in a position to medal, and then our other two guys that didn't medal, Cam Taylor at 106, he really improved from last year to this year, and then Shane Virgilio, who is a junior, had been in the state tournament 2 years ago when he was at William Blunt and didn't win any matches, and then this year he was probably one little move or one little locked hands of things away from being a medalist himself. So the nice thing is all 5 kids we took are underclassmen, so all of our state tournament points will be back next year, if we can get them all in the right weights and things. And then we had I think we had 10 in the sectional round, and I think 9 out of that 10 will be back. So, we've got a great nucleus of kids back for next year, and there's this group of kids. they were really fun to be around because of the way that they lifted each other up and supported each other. You know, sometimes in wrestling you can get really caught up in you because it's so individualized. But these guys, man, they were down on the mat side rooting for their teammates and doing some things, and that made it a real pleasure to coach these guys.
And I was going to ask the guys that because when you have individuals and not everybody's there anymore, it can feel like it kind of breaks up. But I've noticed there are teams down there that sort of take over one little area, and they're going to cheer for no matter who's out there, and it's obvious where they are, and everybody knows who they are, and there are some of them we avoid like the plague because they take up entire sections. But does that carry over like when you go from duals into individual for Alcoa? Is everybody still together and everybody still supporting?
Oh yeah, this is a great community for wrestling. I feel like no matter what, I have whoever I need with me. We had people that didn't even go to the state tournament, and then they came along. You know, that happens every year. That happened my freshman year, my sophomore year. We have people that aren't there, but they're still here supporting and watching us.
And, you know, I'll put this one at you as well, and it's a total change of subject, but we think about it a lot with basketball that Alcoa's basketball roster doesn't get full until you all are done with football. Is it kind of that way? Like, do you all have to take a step behind at the beginning of the wrestling season because you guys are still playing? So many of you guys are still playing football.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of a problem for the upper weights. You know, our 175 was playing football. Our heavyweights, all of them were football players. Me, so I wouldn't say it's a problem with these guys over here, but we could take a little step back.
So when we talk to basketball players, they talk about having to change the steps. Going from crossovers, not being able to cross over football to basketball. Is there a similar thing? Like, do you have to get into more, disciplined mindset about how you're going to move with things than you do from football? Is there a transition from one to the other?
There's a slight transition. I feel like there was more of a transition last year because last year I was about 200 and something pounds, and I was shifting down to 190. And when I was going through there, I feel like that was more like a mind shift switch, and it was a pretty hard switch to flip, but it got flipped. I was there. But this year I feel like it was more the same. I didn't cut any weight. I stayed right with my natural weight and where I usually am, and it was beneficial to me.
Tristan, for you guys, he's giving you the smaller weight guys. Like you're still not. Y'all can move some stuff. So when you all are waiting for football to catch up with you, do you take advantage of that opportunity to work on stuff ahead of time? So when they come in, you have an advantage for a couple days on them.
Oh yeah, big time. Usually, wrestling cardio and football cardio are like two big differences. So like when the football players come back, they're like stronger, but you get to wrestle with them, but also help them work on their cardio while you're going against like some 300-pound brute strength. So it's pretty nice,
What's the best thing about this wrestling team? What do y'all kind of like? What keeps you coming back every day for this?
I would say that we're all like a big family too, and we all push each other to keep going. And like everyone that's there wants to be there and wants to put in the extra work. So it's like everyone wants to succeed. So.
And Coach, that's what you want to hear, right?
Oh yeah, I'm talking about Sammy Evans. He while he's our assistant coach, and while I'm out in football, he's leading and guiding things, and he lives and dies on every point these guys do in a match, and I think they know the kind of investment that he's put into them, and the investment that really all the coaches have in the guys, and now he's going to challenge them because again he's as invested as they are, and so like I said, he lives and dies by every point, and their disappointment is his disappointment, and their excitement is his excitement, and so it's one of those things where when you have a relationship like what they're talking about, everybody's all in on everybody else, and that makes it a family. That makes it a family atmosphere.
And So do you? You've got that advantage, somewhat advantage. You see these guys in the summer for football. Do you kind of take an eye on the other from your other hat and be like, he could probably wrestle?
Oh
Do
yeah.
you take that look?
Darius can tell you I'm all the time like hitting kids up in the hallways and hitting kids up at practice and doing things because, the biggest thing is even if you, from a football perspective, there's not a better complementary sport than wrestling for football, and it doesn't really. The two things go so hand in hand together. Now, I feel like all sports are complementary to all other sports, but I feel like wrestling is the most complementary to football. And so, just convincing those kids, hey, look, come out here. You don't have to lose a bunch of weight. You don't have to do anything. It's just body control and movement and things like that. So, I just see if your athletic programs at a school are working together, everybody wins. Everything's better. When your athletic programs don't work together, you have a little problem. And at our place at Alcoa, when you're sitting there with about 700 kids, if one coach doesn't share with other coaches, somebody's going to be suffering. So it's really important that we work together and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, wrestling is the best complement to football.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah.
When these guys are out, to the two guys, you're out there. It's you and the other guy in front of everybody. I mean, you're in combat. I mean, you don't have your football uniform on. It's you and the other guy. And I guess combat's a fairly nice word instead of a fight, because that's really kind of what it is. It's against the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
Talk a little bit about the adrenaline and, what takes place in your mind when you're out there. And just block everything out. What happens? What's going on?
I used to get really hyped before my matches.
Yeah.
I would turn on some music, bump to it. Recently, I think I've learned to calm down. I don't think of it as anything more than I would think of a practice. It's me and this other guy, but that's all I'm worried about. I'm not focused on whoever's in the audience or anything like that. I worry about that after the fact.
Yeah.
But for when I'm there, I'm just worrying about who's in front of me.
Yeah.
Tristan, what about you?
I'd say the same thing, just like it's me and the other guy, and whoever really wants it more goes after it.
Yeah.
Coach, these guys both come across, and people watching at home on video or Facebook or YouTube, whatever, they come across as very nice guys. However, I have seen them on the mat.
Yeah.
They are not necessarily nice guys.
Yeah. And I think that's an important element of what Mike's asking too, is like, because it is such a combat kind of deal, when the whistle blows, it's on, right?
Yeah.
When it's over, it's over. And so I think that's what makes wrestling really challenging in difference to like team sports. If something's not going good in team sport, you can sort of fade to the back. Now, coach might take you out because you're messing up the cog in the wheel, but in wrestling there ain't no. I'm not getting subbed out. And if it don't go good, I got to own it because everybody's watching it.
That's right.
And so just I think one of the biggest challenges, though, and both of them spoke to it, is getting your mind in a place where you can handle the individual aspect of it, the success and failure in front of everybody right then. And I think for a lot of people when they level up in wrestling, in other words, when they go from maybe beating everybody they're supposed to start beating some people they're not supposed to. I think that mental thing is as much of a level up as a physical thing. Just realizing, hey, I got to clear my mind, I got to focus on the task at hand, and go from there. And I think both of them were able to level up this year because of that, as far as their mental preparation and things like that.
And when they're wrestling, what is your mindset over there? What do you do as a coach, as a wrestling coach?
Well, I can tell you with these two guys in particular, and I joke with them all the time, but there's a little bit of truth to it. If I get them there on time and make sure they're on weight, they're going to take care of the rest of it. From a corner standpoint in coaching wrestling, it's maybe reminding them of some technique that they're really good at that maybe they're not going to, or maybe it's reminding them about some sort of strategy point that we've given them during the week about, hey, if you're wrestling this guy, we need to do this and not do this, And sometimes they just need to look over there at you and you settle them down. they've gotten amped up, they've got really excited, they've taken an early lead, or they've given up something early and they're behind. A lot of times they need the coaches just to be there to kind of say, hey, let's move on to the next point, let's move on to the next thing. And so, but I will say that for as long as I've been doing this, I still just, I get knotted up watching them because from my perspective, I just see the sacrifice and the discipline and all the things that go into it. And I think the hardest part about coaching wrestling is sometimes you can do everything right from a preparation standpoint, from a technique standpoint, everything, and you still get beat.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for me as a coach to look out there and know that, this kid's come in 3 mornings a week for 6 weeks and they stayed extra and they did all this stuff. But that doesn't, you can hurt for them, but that, as we know in sports, that doesn't always guarantee that there's going to be a specific result. So, it's an emotional thing for really everybody in the stands. If you've ever sat next to a wrestling mom at a tournament, it's a roller coaster ride, right?
Where have you seen wrestling go in this state from where you started to where it is right now as a sport?
So, in 2014, they did a small school, large school class in public school, and honestly, that took our program off. That's what got us into a place where we could really be competitive, because prior to that, we were in a region with Cleveland and Bradley and Maryville and William Blount, and so getting kids to the state tournament was a really, really tough thing. Yeah. Once they go to divisions, now the opportunity to get kids in the state tournament increases, and so lots of programs have taken advantage of that. And now you're looking at, I think there's about 165 wrestling programs across the state. When I got started, there was about 120. And then girls wrestling came along about 9 or 10 years ago, and that has helped it explode as well. And so, between those two things, I think that's helped it grow. From a competitive standpoint, though, there are so many opportunities for kids now to wrestle when they're younger at a high level. And just like maybe like 7-on-7 football and AAU basketball and travel baseball, wrestling has kind of gone into that same model. And so you're starting to get lots of kids wrestling at an earlier age than what they were before. When I first got started, if a kid started wrestling, they were a freshman, you had a couple years to get them going. Now, when a kid's a freshman, it's really difficult to get them to the state tournament or to get them to raise a level, because most all the other freshmen they're competing against have already wrestled some.
Yep. What's the colleges in Tennessee? Have they started bringing in wrestling into the college programs? Because I know when my years when I was at Maryville College, we used to have huge wrestling tournaments where we would have Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Carson Newman, Maryville College was a premier, UT Chattanooga, and then because of Title IX kind of shifted everything, and then the colleges dropped the wrestling programs.
Yeah.
So what's it like now in Tennessee?
So Title IX, the Title IX legislation is what killed wrestling in the SEC.
Yeah.
I think. Now, of course, this current SEC is a little different, but when you
yeah.
think about your original SEC teams, I think 6 or 7 of them had wrestling programs. Tennessee had a really good program,
Yep.
and it kind of phased out in the 80s. And so now what you're getting into is Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn. Those places have what they call club wrestling. So kids come to school there.
Yeah.
They wrestle as part of the club. As far as scholarship in Tennessee, it's going to be mostly NAIA focused.
Yep.
I think in Tennessee you've got, of course, Chattanooga is your only Division I program, NCAA Division I program here. And then you've got Cumberland University out in Lebanon is a place that a person can go, and then King University.
Yeah.
And then I think that may be it
in
Tennessee.
I think so. Then you got the NAIA schools up in Kentucky.
Yeah, the NAIA schools in Kentucky. So they've got a really nice – oh, I'm sorry. I forgot LMU. LMU started wrestling a couple years ago.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's Division II, and the guy up there, he's doing a great job, boys and girls. He's got a men's and women's team. But like that NAIA league you're talking about, they've all got wrestling now.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good league. It's a fun conference tournament to go watch.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where transfer portal has affected it too. There's 6 kids at Chattanooga right now starting out of their 10 or 11 that weren't at Chattanooga last year.
Yeah.
And they recruited 2 less high school guys, and so it's the portal's affecting everything.
Yeah. I just remember, when I was at Maryville College during the late 70s. I mean, we'd have these wrestling tournaments. I mean, you'd have all the SEC schools.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was just unbelievable. All at Maryville College, watching and all that. Same time, I want to say, I know you hate for me mentioning you, all right, but again, I think it's tremendous how you can go and coach all year, offensive line at Alcoa, go through all you do play postseason games, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we go through that whole season, then turn around, because I know how I am after our football season. I'm wiped out. Then you turn around, and now you become the coaching the wrestling team, and I don't know how you do it. I mean, I don't know if you take a lot of Excedrin or Tylenol to get through it and all that, but I just want to compliment you on the work that you do here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, over the last, 3 or 4 years, I've mentioned him already once. Sammy Evans has come on and really he's really helped us grow the program from, in a lot of ways. And he's made it, the assistant coaches I've had in wrestling have made it possible for me to go from football to wrestling and make that thing work. And I tell you the other part too, and it may sound like a cliche, but man, you come hang out with some Alcoa kids for a while, and you want to be around them, and you want to coach them, and you want to see them do some stuff because, I'm biased, but Alcoa kids are something else, man. They're different. So, but I appreciate the compliment, but coaches are only as good as those student athletes, and I got some of the best. So.
Well, do you need an agent to help renegotiate your contract or anything like that?
No, my contract's in good shape.
You
I
sure?
appreciate it, yeah.
I can call Uncle Vito to try to help things out. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Right.
Well, guys, we'll close out with one for you. You come away from the state tournament, you got a medal. When does that focus turn to, I've got another year to go for this? When does that kick on?
I think it's different for everybody. For me personally, I'll say I'll sit and I'll be proud of my medal and how I competed in the state tournament for about a week or a week or two. And then after that, I'm focusing on how to place higher or do better. This time it's to win the state championship from myself. That's just me personally.
I'd say the same thing as him and get ready for freestyle and Greco too. And because that helps a lot with the normal or high school season. And just right after the state tournament, getting back on that grind really sets you up.
So you gave us that boring answer about work and going and working with the club level. I mean, we wanted to hear the whole going out and cutting trees like Rocky and all that sort of thing. But we appreciate you all coming in this morning. I wish all the best of luck, and congratulations on a great performance. It is very hard to get that gold in the state, and you've got another chance to pursue it. We wish you the best of that. Coach, thank you for bringing them in this morning. I'm going to give you the last chance. You shouted out for Sammy, but anybody else you need to shout out to for this program?
Well, like I said, hopefully a shout out Sammy and the rest of the guys in the program, because like I said, without good student athletes and without good assistant coaches, it's hard to have a very good program. But our whole athletic program at Alcoa, a bunch of coaches that work together and support each other, and just an administration and a community that has high expectations, but also will pour into you so that you can have the best possible athletic program that you can have. And it doesn't really matter what sport it is.
Well, Coach, again, thank you for spending one more Saturday thinking about wrestling and spending it with us. And Mike will turn the page
Very
real
good.
quick here.
Appreciate you guys.
Time to turn the page. Up next is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: Call us first. We'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Before we get to going here on some UT basketball, Coach Ierulli, I had a department head over at UT in the PE department. Andy Kozar, great football player over there. Remember, he played on the national championship 1951 team. He thought it would be a good idea for me during basketball season to get into a wrestling class. So he thought he enrolled me. He was my advisor. He enrolled me in wrestling. So I went in there, and I went out there, and they wanted us to pair up. And this pretty big guy came over there and wanted me to wrestle him. I thought, well, that's kind of strange. I didn't know a thing about wrestling. I didn't know a thing. I'd never been on a mat in my life. Guy comes over and said, are you dating Debbie McCulley? He said, I used to date her. We started that deal, and that guy just absolutely hurt me.
Oh, it was going downhill real fast after that.
When that class got over with, I ran all the way to the drop an ad and dropped that class. That was it for me. I wasn't going to have any more of that.
Were you saying some Hail Marys to get during that time? Dear Lord Jesus, please help me.
I told Andy Kozar, don't ever put me in that position again. Hey, that's a rough sport.
I don't know how they do
my admiration for, I've always said this before, cross-country runners and wrestlers, they've got my back for sure. Tough sports, tough individual sports. A lot of discipline.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, in my time, Maryville College, despite it being a Division III program, I mean, it would go ahead and wrestle back then. SEC schools, wrestling was all throughout all the different colleges around here. And, we used to sit there and watch, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Maryville College in a wrestling tournament. I mean, it was just great during those days.
Yeah, and that girl that he mentioned was my wife. We ended up getting married.
I was not going to follow up.
Yeah, we ended up getting married.
So it was a good call on your part.
And he was from Maryville. My wife was from Maryville.
Oh, okay, well, you did good.
Anyway, I lived to go another day after that deal.
It was worth getting your leg split and put behind your back.
Andy Kozar was all time putting me in. He put me in gymnastics and stunts and tumbling and gymnastics. He put me in both. It's a wonder I didn't break my neck in there. Both of those classes.
When I did my student teaching at Heritage High School, first year it opened up, the class I taught was gymnastics. Now, what part of my body do you say, oh, there's a future gymnastics coach and all that? But I had to
It's not about what you can do, it's what you can train the students
But I had to demonstrate something.
You don't have to demonstrate a thing.
I had to demonstrate a handstand. Get on the on the parallel bars or do it. I mean,
that's just a lack of imagination. I am sure they had a film projector somewhere in there.
Terry Bradshaw.
In a black and white gymnastics film somewhere, you could have shown to say, this is what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. I go, oh, no, we want to see that. No.
In that gymnastics class, I was in there with a lot of football players. Not Johnny Majors, but Bobby. Bobby Majors was in there, and a bunch of football players. And, of course, they weren't very flexible at all. But the difference between those guys is they try anything. I mean, they'd try anything. They couldn't do anything, but they'd try everything. I wouldn't try everything.
You should forget that.
Forget that.
So you got out of that.
Move me on to something else.
You got out of that class fast.
Those guys, I can picture them right now. They had that vaulting horse. The vaulting horse.
Yeah.
Go over it do all these different things. I can't tell you how many of those guys ended up into the wall on that vaulting horse, getting one leg caught on it or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I tried it too. It didn't work. Not with these short
and
Italian legs of mine.
The instructor we had over there was a all-SEC performer, gymnast from LSU. I mean, they brought him in there, and I mean, he could do all that stuff, and he expected everybody else to, most of us would get on the parallel bars. We're supposed to go up, all we could do is hang. Just hang there.
People don't realize how difficult.
Oh, it's gruesome. It really is. Hey, let's talk about some Tennessee basketball. Kind of a mixed bag, Marcus. This past week, I figured if they were going to lose one, they'd lose it down at Memorial Coliseum last week against Vandy, but that didn't happen. They won that one 69-65. That was a good win because Vandy's ranked 19th in the country.
Got Tennessee back in the poll.
Absolutely, and Ament had the big game shot down there toward the end that really kind of helped seal the deal. But they only had 9 turnovers, and when Tennessee makes 10 or less turnovers a game, they win. And they only turned it over 9. But that wasn't the game that got them, and the game that I really felt like they would go on to win because I just thought they had better personnel was against Missouri out there. Not taking anything away from Missouri because they're having a good year, but I just felt like we were better than them, and I think after beating Vanderbilt, I just thought, gosh, we're going to get Missouri out there. Yeah. We got 3 games left. Hey, we've spent all this time, all this year working our way up into the SEC standings where we finally got up there in that 4th spot or 3rd spot. Last week of the season, Florida's got the couple game lead, but, man, they got Arkansas and they got Kentucky and they got Texas to play, and we've got Alabama at home and we've got Vanderbilt at home, and if we can get Missouri, we got a shot. We've got a legitimate shot of maybe a tie for this SEC championship, but now because of what happened to Missouri, I know they're still mathematically in it for a tie, but it don't look good now, Marcus.
It doesn't look good, and the thing that bothered me more was after the win at Vanderbilt, you had a 2-game separation between the top 4 teams in the conference who basically were 4 losses or better. And then the next tier down was the 6-loss teams where Missouri is. So you had a clear separation, and Tennessee losing that game made them the only 5-loss team. So now they've got a target sitting there for everybody beneath them, and that includes Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
If Vanderbilt can get the win, they can knock Tennessee out of that top 4.
Yeah,
and you've got Alabama in there, and because Tennessee is farther down, because Alabama's a 4-loss team, they can knock Tennessee out. You've put yourself in a position of, instead of being on balance, where they can push you off the edge of the diving board whether you're ready or not.
I'm looking at that Missouri game. Just looking at it, and I'm going, how did we lose the game? I mean,
didn't score as many points.
I understand that.
Usually.
I understand that.
Okay, next question.
But the field goals were not really. Tennessee shot 42.86%, almost 43%, and they were 29% on threes, but Missouri was only 23%. They shot 14 free throws, and I realized Missouri got 22, so that's that's a little bit of a factor in the game. And I look at our scoring. Gillespie had 19, Ament 17, Par 15, Boswell 13. We out-rebounded them 42-30, and they only had 2 people in double figures. Barrett 28, Mitchell 23. No one else in double figures. But then I look at that daggum thing that's a killer. They had 15 turnovers. They had 15 turnovers. Yeah. And you can go down their schedule game. When they're over 10, if they're 10-12, if they're 12, they may get away with it. But if it's over 12, they're probably going to be in real trouble. Yeah. And if they're 10, you can put it in the win column.
Yeah. And for some reason, Missouri seems to really play well at home.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, their win-loss record is so much better at home, and they're struggling on the road.
And the reason Tennessee is just so much more susceptible on the turnovers because it has a bigger impact. Because in the turnover, typically you're putting the other team into a transition a step or two ahead of you getting back down the court. So that negates Tennessee's defense, that negates Tennessee's rebounding, that negates all of Tennessee's advantages when you have that turnover in the front court. If you make that bad pass at the top of the circle, you're pretty much giving them that 4-point swing. And when you add 3 to that, that's a 12-point swing.
Yeah. This league this year, Florida's playing really well.
Yeah.
Florida's had a great year, and the record wasn't real good going into the Southeastern Conference because they had played some really strong teams.
Mm-hmm.
But they have really played well. They've only got 2 losses in the league. They've played really well on the road. And
Yeah.
I know they got Arkansas today, and they still got Kentucky. I mean, they got a little bit of work to do. But I'm looking at this league overall, and guys, it looks to me like the strength is right in the middle.
Yep.
I think we got some good teams, but we're not very heavy up at the top this year, are we?
No.
Not very heavy at the top like they have been in the past in the league. Teams.
I mean, there's a lot of, you can call it depth, but I mean, I think if you were to go into, at this point in the year, if you were to do a 1 through 8 or 1 through 12 matchup with the SEC against any other league, that there's a pretty good chance that the SEC would take 7 or 8 out of the bottom 8 out of the 9 through 12 spots. They may not win the top 4 against matchups, but the 5 through 12, they might take most of those because you've got what? A&M, Kentucky, Texas, Auburn, Oklahoma in that range for the SEC. Teams that could just as easily be in the top 4.
Yeah. I think Auburn's sliding. They're sliding. So? they're in a free fall. So I'm not seeing Auburn. I'm not seeing Auburn in the NCAA tournament right now.
Well, if they struggle, they can get Pearl's dad to come on back.
Maybe that's where they're going. I don't know, but that was a pretty good basketball team that Stephen Pearl inherited down there, and they're not doing very well.
Daddy, come back.
Yeah, I don't know, and they've got Alabama at Alabama left on their schedule, and I mean they got a couple of tough games right here in the last 3, and it could get worse. It could get worse. I don't think they're going to make the tournament, but, we'll see. If you're looking at the SEC tournament and you're looking at the NCAA tournament and you're looking at this past week where Tennessee won at Vandy, which was a good win, but they lost at Missouri, but Missouri's not ranked. Vanderbilt was. Would it have been better for them to have lost to Vanderbilt and beat Missouri or not as far as their RPI?
I don't think your ranking gets hurt one way.
One way or the other?
One way or the other.
Yeah.
In that, if you're going to lose one, you're going to lose one.
Yeah.
But it's, from their perspective, the important thing for Tennessee is if you want to be in that top 4 to get the double bye, then you need to stay where you are. You can't afford to drop any of these last 3.
This game today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it, as the show goes on, but they've got Alabama today. This is huge. Alabama's got 4 losses. They're still in the deal. They're still in the hunt. They got beat here last year on a last-second shot. They're going to come in here with a lot to play for. Tennessee's got a lot to play for as far as seeding in the tournament and the NCAA tournament because Alabama's ranked. And then they've got Vanderbilt coming in here. So 2 out of these next 3 games, as far as Tennessee's concerned, as far as the SEC seedings and the NCAA seedings, huge, aren't they, Marcus?
They are. And what you can't, like I said, these last 3 are must-wins because you've got the chance to beat the next team in line, who's basically sitting as the 5 seed right now in Vanderbilt, the one in front of you in Alabama, and you can't drop the one to South Carolina on the road because it's a killer if you were to lose to a 3-12 South Carolina team. So these are 3 must-win games.
Go around here. Can Tennessee win the SEC tournament? I know that's a week away. Can they win it?
I don't think so. I just think that there's, another example, they're just a good, solid team. They've got, 2 players that seem to be carrying the team most throughout the season. I just think you just need a little bit more. And I don't think
Boswell's coming on.
Yep.
He's giving them some scoring help, and inside, if they get a little, they got some help with the Okpara, 15 points out there in Missouri. If they can get some more scoring inside, maybe. But if you're looking at Rick Barnes' teams in the past and what he's got this year, I don't think this team measures up to what he's had.
Not quite there. Yeah. I just think Florida's been playing so well throughout most of the season. I mean, I think that's my call.
What about Marcus? Can they win it?
I think there's an outside shot, but I don't. It's not one I would bet on. Not. I think Tennessee would have to get into the position of being the 3 seed or a 6 seed to avoid playing Florida in the semis.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah. Not that Arkansas would be much better the way they're playing right now, but I don't like the Tennessee-Florida matchup.
I don't either. And the reason I don't like it very well is Florida boards. Mm-hmm. And that's one of our real strengths is the boards. And Florida boards really well. And that's the problem we had with them when we went down earlier in the year and played down there. They beat us up. And here we were, one of the top board teams in the country, going into that game. So, if Tennessee goes to the how high do you think that they'll end up in the national rankings? Let's say they win out. They beat Alabama and they beat Vanderbilt, South Carolina. What do you think?
20th.
I think you might break out of the 20s depending on how some of the other stuff stacks up in the next week. Maybe you're 19 or an 18.
Is that going to get them a 5 seed or a 6?
I don't think the AP poll has nearly as much impact on that seeding anymore. I think the formulas in the committee control a lot more of that. So I think it'll be advantageous for Tennessee fans to travel to as to where Tennessee ends up and how they are seeded.
Yeah. Their 2 best wins, Houston, Illinois. Both of those teams have been strong this year, but they've lost lately.
They've lost lately.
Doesn't look as good as it did a few weeks ago.
You're hung with the double loss to Kentucky
and Syracuse.
But you've also what you thought was a bad loss earlier in the year at Arkansas doesn't look that bad anymore.
Right.
You've got the win over Alabama. You've got a win over Vanderbilt. I mean, in the whole scheme of things, you can make the argument for Tennessee being anywhere from a 4 to a 6, 4, 5, or 6, anywhere in there.
But those are Tennessee's best wins, Alabama and Vandy, right?
I think the Houston win's big, but I think it depends on how Houston looks in 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
What about Ament? Before we get out of here, Ament. Anybody's vote for him as Player of the Year?
I would put him as Newcomer of the Year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd make him Player of the Year.
I think Houck down at Florida.
Yeah.
Player of the Year.
Sometimes those Player of the Years, you may be the best player in the league, but that team that wins the league, if they've got somebody that's really strong, they're going to get the votes. Don't you think? Don't you think having the winning the league has a lot to do with
especially
the player?
Especially going through the tournament and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, that.
And they're 2 different things because you got your Player of the Year who should be your best player from the regular season, the guy you could count on, who got you through at least 2 or 3 of those wins that put you in that position. And then you have a tournament MVP, and that should really be the guy who performed well in those 2, 3, 4 games.
Sure.
When those don't, and sometimes those get confused when it comes to the voting because it's like, oh well, this guy had a great regular da. It's like that, but he had a terrible SEC tournament, or he had like 1 good game.
Correct. Where he's absolutely highlighted.
And there's been a lot of times where I thought the MVP of the tournament was on the runner-up in the championship game, who had 3 spectacular games, but the formula says you give it to somebody on the championship team.
Yeah. We were talking a few minutes ago about the middle of the league, which would be Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Texas, and Georgia. I'm kind of eliminating Auburn because they lost at Oklahoma. I'm really not. I'm not favoring. I'm not liking Auburn very good at all right now. But if Auburn in that high category on the lower end, but lower end you got Auburn, Reeling, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, LSU, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. I mean, those teams are really, if you looked at the scores this week of some of those games of those teams, they got hammered, Coach Ierulli. You know, it looks like they've seen the writing on the wall.
That's why they are
and,
where they are.
And they're just
starting to pack it in.
You got these three teams up at the top, right up here: Florida, Alabama, Arkansas in the hunt. Got that large middle, and then you got those 5 teams down at the bottom, and that's the way it is right now.
That's the true facts of everything.
Yeah. Marcus, is it time to get out? Okay, good. Hey, time for a break. When we return, it's the Boys Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd's Sports Spotlight segment. And I'm here with Marcus Fitzsimmons and Coach Tony Ierulli, and I'm filling in a little bit for Donnie Moore today, and we'll look forward to him being back here next week. But I've got a few sports headlines, so let's get into it. The big one, the U.S. men's and women's hockey teams won the gold in the Olympics, and Tony Ierulli, here's a question for you, buddy. I think you were around, but how does this win compare to the 1980 Miracle on Ice against the Soviet Union?
Both
they're trying to.
Both are great events, but the Miracle on Ice was so. What's the right word? Just.
Well, you had the amateurs. You had the amateur guys going against the Soviets, which would have been equal to a pro team.
A pro team, and the Soviets were so dominant, and the U.S. hockey team were just a bunch of college kids that they slapped together, and they really struggled during their sort of like pre-Olympic games, and where they barely won a couple of them, and they just kind of sneaked their way into the semifinals, and I remember I was at Maryville College during the game, and at that time the game wasn't even played on TV live. It was a 4:00 game, and the Olympics weren't shown until 8 o'clock in the evening. So no one, even back then, no one really knew who won until we watched it on TV that evening, and that was about 4 or 5 hours after the game actually played.
Yeah.
But I remember being in the Carnegie dorm when we won, and that whole dormitory was screaming and hollering. I still got goosebumps just talking about it. I mean, it was just it was just like, an event that you'll never ever forget.
Yeah.
And at the same time, And what we did beating Canada, I mean, that was tremendous as well. Both teams are NHL players, but us being able to win for the Olympics for America, I thought it was just excellent.
And it was Canada's national game. Hockey
Sure.
was their national game, so
Canada,
it was a big thing there.
And at the same time, the women beat Canada to win the Olympic gold as well and all that. So, I mean, just really tremendous that both teams were able to do that.
And the miracle on ice, a lot of people don't realize this. They focused on the U.S. hockey team beating the Soviet Union to win the gold, but that's not really what happened. They came from behind to beat Sweden, wasn't it?
That's right.
To win the gold, they were behind against Sweden and could have very easily not won the gold.
They said every playoff, every game that they played in the Olympics, at one point in time, the U.S. hockey team was behind.
And Sweden was the final game.
Sweden was people think that was playing for the gold. No, we were actually playing to get into the finals.
Exactly.
But still, it was the Soviet Union, and they were a bunch of badasses.
If we weren't careful, we would have done Sweden a big favor by beating the Soviets, and they turn around and beat the U.S. team.
And remember, at the time in 1980, that was back when there was we just had I think. Very bad relationships with Russia going on, and we had problems over in Iran, them taking over the embassy.
Correct.
And and Russia was not even thinking, potentially not even going into the Olympics, because the board, the Olympic board, was thinking about not having them, but Russia said no, we'll go ahead and come.
Yep.
And so it was politically as well, it was such a big event.
What I thought was nice is that by winning the gold this year, and it's been a long time, the fact that the 80 team was brought back to life. It was brought back to life again. Not that it had ever gone away, but that team had
most people don't realize it's been since the 80 team that we won the gold. And we won the gold in 1960 as well.
Where have the years gone? That was my son was born at that time. I was going back and forth to the hospital after his birth.
At the time.
So.
But I mean, I like I said, I remember that was about as big time. And the movie Miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, you could sit and watch that movie 100 times straight and keep watching it.
Hey, IndyCar breaks out of the gate tomorrow at St. Pete, 12 o'clock on Fox, a street race, first of 18 races. It's a 14-turn, 1.8-mile road course. All teams will be chasing Alex Palou, who has won 3 IndyCar championships in a row, 4 in the last 5 years. They've got Mick Schumacher, who will be making his debut with Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing. 25-car field. Will Power joins Andretti Global. That'll be an interesting story. David Malukas opens for Penske. He moves over to that team. It should be an exciting race, and we'll see how it goes there in St. Pete tomorrow. NASCAR is at the Circuit of the Americas at 3:30 p.m. on Fox.
And, I'm originally from Sarasota, Bradenton area near St. Pete, so I'm used to that type of traffic anyway. Driving through St. Pete. That's no big deal going through the track route.
I've been down to that race 2 or 3 times, and it's a great event. I enjoy it. First one, and they put on a good show down there at St. Pete. Hey, Judge has denied Charles Bediako another attempt to play for the Alabama basketball team, and Tony Ierulli. I wish they'd put that thing to rest, and I wish they had never let him play those. I think what they played. He was in, 5 games, I think.
Yeah, he had like a
5 games.
14, 15-day. I mean, that's where we are. I mean, now they can get people who are drafted and actually played professionally, and they're bringing them back to play. I mean, like we said, there are no rules right now.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I mean, why would that even be considered? Why was he even allowed to come back? I mean.
And to get your dander up a little bit more, Cincinnati has sued former quarterback Brendan Sorsby in federal court this past Wednesday, alleging he breached his NIL contract with the Bearcats when he refused to pay a $1 million exit fee after he transferred to Texas Tech. So there you go. Back in court again. Back in court again.
Yeah. It's funny. It's always about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it just I mean that's the mess we are in right now.
We long for the days of room, board, books, tuition, and $15 a month.
$15 a month, not a week, a month.
No questions asked. Huh?
But see, and this is one of those things, and I'm not sure it applies in this situation because there's a good chance he knew what was coming. But you've got some of these guys who are not dealing with like top-tier agents that you think of when you think of the pro leagues. You've got another tier of attorneys involved. And better or worse, some of these guys are not reading the fine print. And they're leading these guys to make bad decisions where they are losing money.
Sure.
And the attorneys don't care because they're taking their cut off the top.
Right.
So, I mean, you've got, especially when you get into that lower tier of Division I where things get really wonky the lower down you go with some of these deals, that you're going to see some really interesting things happening. If we keep on saying, if they don't get a handle on this, this may be that Congress has to get a handle on this, which doesn't even sound like it's a better alternative when we say that loud.
That may be a worse deal.
I don't know if that's going to solve a thing. There.
I mean, but you're just going to have a degree of contract law that
Yeah.
gets applied that's universal across state lines.
Yeah. Hey, Kentucky's coach Pope was fined by the SEC for post-game comments regarding officials and a late call in the game against Auburn. I believe that occurred last Saturday, and I saw that call. It was a bad call. Kentucky was up, and they said the guy pushed off. There was some acting involved. I thought. I thought with just a few seconds left in the game that was really a gut call by the official. They really decided the outcome of that game, and really Kentucky should have been shooting foul shots down on the other end with the lead.
Yeah.
But they got the call, and Auburn got the game, and Kentucky took another loss, on the chin, and so far it hasn't been quite the year Kentucky has wanted in basketball. I know they've beaten Tennessee twice, but they got a roster they paid $20 million to have. $20 million, and they're down there below Tennessee in the rankings and some other teams. That's I don't know.
That's why coaches in basketball and football, you don't meet your expectations, you're not there for long.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're spending $20 million on a team and you have not formed what your expectation is, you're going to be looking for a job.
I got some on this day in sports history. 1940, the first televised basketball game. University of Pittsburgh beat Fordham University 50-37. 1957, jockey Johnny Longden records his 5,000th career victory. Wow.
Jockey.
Yeah, jockey.
5,000.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I bet you he was bow-legged, wasn't he?
No, I don't think he had any rear end left. 5,000. Hey, 1959. Here's a name, Coach Ierulli. Ollie Matson was traded from the Chicago Cardinals to the L.A. Rams for an unprecedented 9 players.
Wow.
He was a running back.
Yep.
Yeah. 1960, the U.S. Olympic hockey team wins the first gold medal at Squaw Valley, 9-4 over Czechoslovakia. 1966, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale hold out against the Dodgers for more money. That's a big deal back in those days because players just didn't do that.
I know. Did they get their extra $10,000?
I don't know. They got a lot of aggravation, I think. I think they did get a little extra money. 1981, Calvin Murphy of Houston pro team sets an NBA record with 78 consecutive free throws. Where he plays college ball?
Was it Georgia?
Where he plays college ball? Calvin Murphy. Wasn't very big. 5'9", 5'10", yeah.
Maryland?
Niagara. They played Tennessee over. When I was a freshman, Tennessee played Niagara with Calvin Murphy.
I know he was a tremendous NBA player.
Yeah. 1989, Red Shaindish, second baseman for the Cardinals, 10-time All-Star.
Yeah. And
Al Barlick, umpire, elected to the Hall of Fame.
Red Shaindish.
Yeah.
He was the manager of
manager
of the Cardinals.
Manager of the Cardinals, Birthdays. We got 1929, Hayden Fry, coach football, North Texas State and Iowa. They remember Hayden Fry over here because he brought that North Texas State team in here and beat Tennessee.
Oh, did he?
He
really?
Sure did. He sure did.
I'll tell you one thing. He was a heck of a coach at Iowa.
Yeah, he was. 1930, Frank Malzone of the Boston Red Sox, 8-time All-Star third baseman. 1940, Mario Andretti, Indy 500 winner, F1 World Champion 1978, Daytona 500 winner. The only thing he didn't win was Le Mans.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Arguably
Milwaukee,
one of the
one
greatest.
Indy and the Daytona.
That's exactly
Wow.
right. Yeah.
There aren't too many that have done that.
No. The only other guy you can put up there would be A.J. Foyt. He won Indianapolis, he won Daytona, and he won Le Mans. But
Wow.
he didn't win Formula One. So he was the only other guy. And I don't know that I would differentiate between either one of them being the greatest, because both of them had three of the four premier events in the world that they won. I think Foyt won more races overall in his career than Andretti did. But
I like the last name. A lot of vowels in it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of mine.
1945, born on this date, Bubba Smith, Baltimore Colts, football, Michigan State defensive end.
What a great player he was, Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba Kill. They called him Bubba Kill.
Number 78, played for the Colts and Michigan State. He was a difference maker.
Duffy Doherty was coaching. He played on that 66 team. Remember, it was a 10-10 tie with Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was a big game. That was the game of the year.
Yeah, that was the game of the year. Deaths: 1988, Harvey Keene, he was 57 at the time. 2020, he played with the Giants.
Right,
Harvey
right.
Keene, Manning's son. Maybe
I
Milwaukee
think he was
or
a first baseman, maybe, or something.
Yeah. 2021, Irv Cross, Philadelphia Eagles, and the broadcaster.
Yep.
CBS.
CBS,
Today, game day, whatever. So that's what we've got there, and
short list of deaths. That's good. That's always good.
Yeah, short list. Marcus, anything else you got going on?
No, I'm just going to say that was brought to you by our friends at Fast Signs.
Oh yeah,
Boy.
I forgot. Fast Signs. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's okay. I forgot to mention Mandy B Street in the first hour and all my excitement with Alcoa Wrestling. So I'll just tack that on the end here.
You did good and all that.
Yeah.
We got a minute to talk? Just want to bring up here, as you guys know, my family had a tragedy this past year that my sister-in-law, Pam, I really passed away unexpectedly. And the past week and a half, my family gathered down in Florida to honor her. What a wonderful lady and sister-in-law. She was just a very loving person, and it was I never went to a Jewish Catholic funeral before, but it was very eventful.
Yeah.
But she was the love of our hearts. Everyone in the family. And I appreciate all the support that you guys have given me, over the past week. And so I just want to give a shout out to her.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Alabama going to square off today at 6 o'clock on the ESPN, and we've talked a little bit about the importance of the game, but SEC regular season, both teams are still in play. SEC tournament seeding, NCAA tournament seeding. I've looked at some things Alabama needs to do to win this game. They got to keep Tennessee off the boards, because one of the best board teams in the country. They want to play an up-tempo game. Alabama wants to go up and down the court. They need to limit Gillespie and Ament in scoring, make Boswell or somebody else possibly inside beat them. They need to get off to a good start and take the crowd out of the game. Marcus, anything else Alabama needs to do, you think, today to come out with a win?
It needs to have a plan for the final 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because let's just face it, the history of this rivalry series has been there's going to be a lead change or somebody's going to be holding on to a 1-point lead in the final 2 minutes of this game. Yeah. So you need to know what you're going to do. Who's going to be your go-to guy? Who do you think you're going to – what do you think you want to do? Where – what's your timeout situation, and be aware, that you're going to have to reemphasize to these guys at that point, you're tired, but you better rebound, otherwise Tennessee's going to beat us on the boards.
Tennessee, on the other hand, they need the board. That's their key to most of their games is boards and turnovers. Keep that turnover in the 10 to 12 category. They need to have a big game offensively out of Ament and Gillespie, and throw in some Boswell. And if you get anybody else on the inside, that'd be a plus. Get some offense, as I said, out of some of the inside players. And back home after some road games, you need to get the crowd into the game, and I think Tennessee needs to control the tempo. I think that's why they were so successful down at Vanderbilt, that they controlled the tempo of the game at Vandy. The first half, it was pretty much Vandy. Vandy was up by 5 the first half. The second half, I thought Vanderbilt played Tennessee's game, Tennessee's tempo the second half there. And with Alabama and their personnel, I think it's very important that you control that game. Take good shots, take time on the shots, and play good, hard, solid defense and try to come out of it. But as far as the schedule, the SEC schedule today, Missouri's at Mississippi State. Number 25 Vanderbilt is at Kentucky. That'll be an interesting game since Vanderbilt beat the hound out of them down here at Memorial. I think they beat them about 30 points down here at Memorial Coliseum. So we'll see how that game comes out. Vanderbilt's got 2 tough Saturdays, up in Kentucky this week and Tennessee next week. Yeah, they got tough assignment there. South Carolina's at Georgia. Texas is at Texas A&M for a in-state brawl there. Of course, we mentioned Alabama's at Tennessee. Oklahoma's at LSU. Oklahoma going for 2 straight.
Woo, they're on a roll right now.
They beat Auburn the other night. And then Arkansas is at Florida. And that game right there, as far as the SEC goes, Marcus, if Florida wins, it's over.
Pretty much.
It's over. I mean, there's no they would
I
have,
think it's
they
over.
Would have,
realistically, I think it's over.
They
anyway,
would have 2 games left, being one of them Mississippi State at home, and then going at Kentucky. And with if Alabama was happened to win here, they'd still be two games ahead, and they would have to lose to Mississippi State at home and Kentucky.
Yeah,
so
Tennessee didn't have Florida at home this year, so they only played
they played them down there. Played them down there.
Outside of a measles outbreak or something on the Florida team, this is over.
Yeah.
Unless they're quarantined and can't play.
If Arkansas wins, they've got 4 losses, and then Florida would need to go up to Kentucky and win up there. If not, they could tie.
They can tie, you need Florida basically do what it hasn't done all year and lose 2, if not all 3 of their final 3 games.
And in the last game, Ole Miss is at Auburn. I wouldn't want to think about Ole Miss beating Auburn down there today with what's been happening with that Auburn team. But anyway, I think that I've always said this: the SEC championship or any championship, league championship is the outside of the NCAA tournament, which only one team can win the NCAA tournament. Challenging for and winning your league championship may be one of the greatest championships because it takes the whole season to do that. It takes the whole year.
Sure.
I mean, you start playing, in December, the 1st of January, and
it's a grind.
It's a grind. And if you can come out of that and win a championship, I know a lot of people argue about that. They say, "Oh no, that's not right." It's how far you go in the NCAA tournament that they remember. No, they remember you by winning championships. I think. Right. And the SEC championship, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, whatever, the Big East, if you can win that championship, one of those championships, I think it's one that you should cherish. The SEC tournament is also another championship that you can win, but it's a week deal. I mean, it's a 1 week deal, and and you can get hot in there and come out of it. But
so, what do you think people value more, the winning the SEC season championship or the tournament championship?
I think they didn't have a tournament championship when I played. I favor the league championship because of the grind of the whole year. The whole year. But if you're a coach, and I'm coaching today, you're looking at championships. You want to win the regular season. You want to win the SEC championship. And, of course, you want to go far in the NCAA tournament, as far as you can go. But those are your goals, going in. So Tennessee has only got they've only got really the SEC championship is gone.
Yeah.
So the tournament, they got the tournament and whatever left. Marcus, if we're looking at this Tennessee basketball season this year, where would you rate it? Is it about what you expected, better than expected? Is it maybe a little bit disappointing? Where is it, this men's basketball program?
I think for the fan base, it's a step below what they expected or what they believe Rick Barnes will deliver every year. From what it was realistic, given what the program was losing, I'm okay with it. I mean, I thought they put together some pretty good pieces and have played them pretty well and developed them pretty well because The team is a better product right now than it was 3 months ago, and that's not always the case. So I'm okay with it. I think it still has some potential and could make some noise. It has potential to flop too, but that's why we play. That's what March Madness is all about.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be boring if the seeds won when they were supposed to. So I think Tennessee could make some noise, and it could be entertaining March, but it might be a short-lived March. You don't know. We could be talking about baseball before we get to St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, you just got to remember who Tennessee had last year on their team. You had Connect, and you had all the rest of the guys. Can't remember their names right offhand, but I mean, it was a talent-laden basketball team, and and it's hard to replace those guys.
Yeah.
And we've got some good young players that have done some things, but we had 3 or 4 that were at that high quality level.
I think it's been a little different, Rick Barnes' team, especially on offense. I don't think they're as patient as they have been in some of the past years on their offense, where they really work somebody defensively to get the shot. I mean, they'd milk that clock down to 4 or 5 seconds before they would take a shot, making somebody really work their defense. And so they haven't been quite as patient on the offense. And then there's been times where they've kind of been inconsistent, so to speak, during the year. And turnovers have plagued them some. But it's it's a Rick Barnes team. As far as his coaching, I think it might be one of his best coaching jobs over there, because he had to completely redo this team, remake this team. He had to bring some guys in here. He's had some injuries that's hurt him, especially on the inside. They've weathered all of that, and they've just sort of worked themselves right back into having a really fine, outstanding, I'll say outstanding at this particular point, because they're in the top 4.
Yep.
I don't know what this week's going to bring. Hopefully they'll get these 2 big wins and it'll even look better. But I really think it's one of his better jobs coaching. This year.
And I think so too. I mean, like I said, they lost a group of very talented players from the year before, and for him to still have a lot of success on the court this past season, and it's not at the same level as it was the year before, but I think realistically that wasn't going to be the case.
They've been very good to have a big game there after a loss, and you're thinking, boy, if they lose this game, the roof could kind of go in here a little bit. But they've always been able to pull that out and withstand that. I know he was very disappointed at Missouri.
Yep.
You could see after the game he just wasn't the cordial guy. He was really disappointed because it put them out of a chance for an SEC, at least sharing a championship this particular year. National rankings, Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, Houston, UConn, Florida, Purdue, Gonzaga, and Illinois, top 10. Virginia, Nebraska looking on in there. Number 1 seeds, Duke, UConn, Michigan, and Arizona. That's what Lenardi's got. Big 12, 6 teams. SEC, 5 teams. Big 10, 5 teams. ACC, 4 teams. Big East, 2 teams. And there's 3 other teams in the top 25. So that being said, the Big East is probably your weakest league right there, Coach Ierulli. They only got 2 teams in there. And St. John's is that other team besides UConn, and UConn beat them 30 points the other night. That's a weak league,
That's
Tony.
a weak league,
That's a weak league. And I've said for years, last several years, that UConn coming out of that league that's so weak, I just feel like they're more rested for the tournament than anybody else.
That conference is so overrated. I mean, it's just really one team year in, year out. And, it's a very overrated conference with just very few outstanding teams.
Yeah. How we doing, Marcus?
It's time.
It's time to blow the whistle. Tony, good to see you.
Good seeing
Hopefully
you.
we'll see you next week, and hopefully Donnie Moore will be back next week. And Marcus, good to see you.
Blow that whistle.
Blow the whistle. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
Good job.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.